Hi. Come on up. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Do you want to craft as well? Are you going to make a mess with me? Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me back on my channel today. My name is Jen and today we're going to make a mess. It already looks like it's a mess and I haven't even done anything yet. My mom would be so proud. Actually, no, my mom wouldn't be proud of me. My mom called me Hurricane Jenny growing up because I made messes everywhere and I never cleaned them up. Example, my bed right now is a little bit of a nightmare. I don't sleep on my bed, which is weird. Why else would you have a bed? Anyway, I'm excited to do some DIY projects with you, and today we are going to be making some DIY mouse ears. Now, I have made some DIY mouse ears before. Last year when I was at Pinburg, which is the largest pinball tournament in the world, I made a different pair for every single day that I was there. I even went one step further and I made my outfit to match the ears that I was wearing, but we're not going to be doing that today. Today we're just going to be making some DIY mouse ears. What I actually did before I filmed this video was poll my social media to see what Disney character they thought my personality fit the best. And of that, I took the top 4 answers and then pulled them again to get the top Disney character that fits my personality. And out of all of it, if you do follow me on social media, you might already know, but out of all of the Disney characters, I was chosen to be Vanellope Von Sweet. I'm okay with that. I like Wreck-It Ralph. I think it's a good, I like her character. She's got a lot of spunk. I mean, it makes sense if you know me, but. So today we're gonna making some Vanellope Von Sweet DIY mouse ears. Now, you can apply what I'm gonna do to any character that you want. The key that you want to do before you go in is to think about which character you want to do, and then I like to design it ahead of time. I'm gonna go through my DIY of making the Vanellope Von Sweet mouse ears, but no, you can apply this basic tutorial to any character that you wish. I use this for every single mouse ears that I made, and like I said, I've made 4 before. It's pretty simple, it's pretty easy. You can make it as easy or as complicated as you want it to be, but know that the basic steps that I'm gonna be taking today are just one way that you can try this out. If you have another way, or you know of another video or like another tutorial, please sure to leave that in the comments because I would love to check it out because maybe I'm doing it the hard way. I don't know, but this is what I did, so let's go ahead and let's get started. For this DIY, you are gonna need a headband, some cardboard, and an X-Acto knife or a box cutter or something where you can easily cut the cardboard. You're gonna need freezer paper and scissors, the fabric of your choice for the character that you're making, and any accessories that would go towards that character that you feel exemplifies that character, if any, and then a hot glue gun as well. I also used an iron, so you're gonna need an iron and an ironing board if you have one of those. If not, you can just eliminate the entire freezer paper step and I can tell you what you can do instead. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started now. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make this licorice accessory that's gonna go on the center of the bow. And for my reference, I have another pair that I bought to use as a reference whenever I'm making it, so I know kind of how big I want to make it. And I tried to do this already once before and it didn't come out very well, so we'll see how this goes. So I'm just using some Sculpey clay to make this. I'm gonna make it and then bake it a little bit later. It's not gonna look anything like, I should have found something, but I was like, no, I'm gonna make it because I always see something and I'm like, I can make it better. I like it. Flatten it down a little bit. Yeah. Cool. I can live with that. Next thing we want to do is the ears. Now, this is not the typical headband that I would use for it. I would want something a little bit thicker, but Joann's was all out, so we're gonna wing it here. So I had a pattern for a different headband, but I'm gonna make one for this one. So we're gonna take our cardboard, and if you don't have a template, you can just draw it out. I like using a reference, but I'm gonna assume nobody else has one, so I'm gonna eyeball it and then see how I did. So. Perfect. Boom. Right. So now we've got our template. Woohoo! All right, so the next thing that I want to do is we want to put the ears onto our base. So with that, I'm going to use a hot glue gun, and we're just going to hot glue them on there. So I like to lay it out first so that they're even, and then you can make a mark where you are going to start them at. And don't worry, the fabric will cover up the mark, so you won't need to worry too much about that. Perfect. So we're just going to take our hot glue, run it along the bottom of this here, and make sure you don't run out in the middle of doing it, which is exactly what I did. Yeah. Okay, take two. All right, so we're just gonna take our hot glue and we're gonna run it along the bottom here. Cool. Awesome. So now we have our base. Yay! We're gonna set that aside because now we want to make the bow. I've got a piece of scrap fabric actually right here that I'm gonna use, and we want to make kind of like a long rectangle kind of. So I will grab some scissors. Doesn't matter. So I want to do a longer rectangle, so I'm gonna make a little snip and just rip it. Don't waste your time cutting it because you're not gonna see the edges, so it doesn't matter. So we're gonna snip it and rip it and take off all these little stringies, and we're gonna do the same thing over on this side. Snip and rip. It's like the new bend and snap, but you're just gonna snip and rip. Snip and rip. And this is why Jen's not a singer. So just kidding, you're gonna make a square. And it's gonna be, I don't know where my measure is, I'll just use this. So your square is gonna be 12 by 12. And it's like 12 by 13. So it is a rectangle, technically. But you can just do a 12 by 12 square. And then, like I said, what we're gonna do is just basically, there's no sewing involved. We're just gonna fold it in on itself. So I'm gonna put a little bit of hot glue right in the center. And I'm gonna fold in one side and push that down. Be careful because it's hot. Don't burn yourself. Remember, I'm immune to it. I've built up a tolerance over the years. So that looks good. I'm gonna do all these little strings off. And do a little bit of hot glue again at the same spot. And fold in the other side. Again, it's hot, so be careful. Fold in the other side. And then I like to just tap down the one of the edges, or both of the edges, so that they stay folded down together. We're just gonna tap in the edges a little bit here. Cool. Now again, hot glue in the same spot, just a little bit, just a teeny little bit. I'm gonna fold up one side. Hot glue again. Fold up that other side. And you want them to to overlap. I know it's a little difficult to see because of course I was using black. Perfect. And then what we're gonna do, and what I kind of like to do, is I like to pick it up by the center where the actual hot glue is. So we're gonna pick it up and then basically just start folding it in on itself. One side at a time. Should be able to fold it in like twice. Fold it in. And then here's where you can use like string or a hair tie or something to keep it closed, which I forgot to do, so I'm just gonna use the hair tie on my arm right now, and then I'll put a string on it. Yeah. And move it around so it's kind of centered. And we just kind of fold it out, yep, and there it is. So we're not done yet, because we want to cover up the center here. All right, so I put my string on it, and it doesn't really matter what color this is because we're gonna cover it up. What's important to note here is you wanna make sure you find the back. So here's the back where you can see my two pieces. The front, you don't have the piece at all. So we are gonna make sure that when we glue our center piece in, we glue it in the back. That way we don't see it when we're putting it on. So for that, we're gonna take our fabric again, and we don't need a very big piece. And you wanna judge how wide it is, how wide you want it to be. But you wanna leave some extra space because we're gonna be folding it in so we had a nice clean edge. So I'm gonna cut a piece here. You probably don't need anything any wider than this. Well, wider than this, but then lengthwise, I don't know. So I'm just gonna take a piece, cut it down. So now we get the little stringies off. So now we've got this piece that we're gonna, again, we're just gonna fold it in on itself so that we get a nice clean edge. And you shouldn't need to glue this. You can glue it down. I've done that in the past, but it should hold down tight once you fold it and once you glue it to the back. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna do a little strip in the back here. A lot of glue. This is the problem. I have like the smallest little, I got these glue sticks for free, and they're like tiny little baby glue sticks that last like one pull of the trigger. If I can get one out. They're like the smallest glue sticks ever. If anybody knows, like uses hot glue all the time, like this is the smallest glue stick I've ever seen in my life. And again, it lasts like one squirt. So we're gonna put that in there. And like I said, what we're gonna do is just do a little line right in the back. and we're gonna fold in our fabric. And you've got time before the glue dries, and just place it right in the back here. And that's my oven. Hold on. All right, so once we have our piece on the back, we're just going to turn it over to the front and get your hair out of there, because of course my hair is everywhere. I can't tell what's hair and what's hot glue. And we're gonna keep that folded in. I'm gonna keep it folded in and just wrap it around. And then once you find the spot where you're going to glue it, you can just cut it. And you wanna have a little bit of overlap when you're, so I'm gonna overlap with this. And I'm just gonna chop it right here. Probably can chop it a little bit more, that's okay. And then, yeah, that's good. All right. Then we're gonna take our hot glue, so you wanna hold it in between your two fingers so you can hold the bow part together. And we're just gonna take our hot glue and run it along the edge. And glue the end in place. And again, hot glue is hot, so don't stick your finger on it if you can avoid it, but. Perfect. And there we go. Now we have a cute little bow. Next we need to cover our ears with our fabric. So I'm gonna clean up my mess here a little bit. But I just mean throwing it on the floor. I actually did a little bit of prep work because, as you can see from my design, I needed the very distinctive leggings of Vanellope, but alas, that fabric does not exist, so I made it because I can. So I went in and I actually made this fabric. Now there's probably places out there where you can probably order the fabric if you want, but I actually just used a lot of the scrap fabric that I have because my closet and my scrap fabric and I just have so much stuff. So what we're gonna do is we are going to basically just cover these two ears in fabric. Now this is where the freezer paper comes in. I like using it as a template. This is the template that I used for the other ears that I made. However, the issue with that is there was a really big headband, and I believe if I use it on this one, it's not going to work very well. So we need to draw up a new one that's gonna fit. So for that, I'm going to get the freezer paper out. And I love using freezer paper to make templates because if you haven't used freezer paper for crafting before, I highly recommend it. Especially if you can. This you can't snip the rip, so. Just because you've got like the waxy layer that's on the back of it that actually works really well to iron onto your fabric, and you've got a nice template that's on there and you can cut around it and then just peel it off and there's no residue. But the way that this is gonna work is basically you have your ears here. We're gonna put this one on top of this side, and then this one will come over, and then we will put down the fabric over here, like so. It'll look a lot nicer, and then this will simply just cover up what we did. No sewing, it's super easy, but as you can see, like I said, because of the thicker headband that I'm used to using, this is not gonna work, so we need to make something else. But this is actually, it's a pretty good size. So, I'm gonna draw this out. So the first thing we wanna do is trace the ear that we have already. can just, now if you don't have an iron, you can use any type of just regular paper, and then you can just pin it on to your fabric. And do it that way if you want. I mean, we use it just like a pattern. But it's nice to have a template that you use that's just gonna be really easy to make it consistent for each one. So we're just gonna cut this out. Now we've got our template that we're gonna use. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our fabric and we're just gonna iron this onto this and then cut it out. All right, so we ironed it on here, and as you can see, it's not coming off. It goes on really nicely, and you'll see when I pull it off, there's not gonna leave any residue. So I'm gonna cut this out. All right, so now I've got it cut out, and this is how easy freezer paper is. This is why I love using freezer paper for patterns. It's great. So now I've got the one cut out. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this for the second one. Now we've got our two fabrics here, and we are ready to, we got our two fabrics here, so we're ready to put these onto this. This is probably gonna be the most tricky part out of the whole thing, and it took me like 2 or 3 tries to try and get it the first time I got it. But I will share you all of my mistakes, and what I learned is the easiest way to do it. So the easiest way that we're gonna do this, and we wanna make sure, again, if this is gonna be your front, that we're putting this one on the front side, and then this one comes through to the back. So how I like to do it, or how I've learned is the best way to do it, is we're gonna attach it on the inside here first. So we're gonna take some hot glue, line the bottom of this. And my hot glue gun only reaches so far, that's why I'm not just doing it right in front of the camera. And again, so if my front's gonna be here, we're gonna through this. Perfect. All right. So now that's on. And some people like to put another like lining of fabric down on the inside to cover up this. I don't do it. I think it looks fine either way. If you want to do the extra work to put it in, you can, but I don't do it. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to be folding this over so we get that nice clean look. This is, again, it's a little bit tedious, but it takes some time, and I like to start at the bottom first. So I will take my hot glue gun, and take the bottom one and bring it over, and you want to pull it over pretty tight. And hold it there and make sure and wait till it dries. And then get hot glue all over your fingers. And then we're gonna do that to the other side too. over it. We want to pull it pretty tight because we want to have a nice clean look. And it looks a little wonky right now, but once we pull this up tight here at the top, it'll look fine. So yeah, so we put that on there. Now, one of the things that I do in addition to just covering them is I like to stuff them a little bit with, so they're nice, like little puffy. You don't have to do this, it's another, but, so I've got some polyfiber microfill here, and once we have covered this up a little bit, we will go through and we'll throw in some of that to give it a nice little puffy look. You don't have to, it looks just as fine if you cover it up and it's just the fabric on there. It's just my personal preference. Now we're gonna take this piece and just cover up what we did. I've got some little extra trimmings because of the sewing that I did. I'll trim those down later. So yeah, so we're gonna work very slowly around. You don't wanna put the glue on and then go around all at once. So I start from the bottom and work my way up to the top. I gotta go in and I'm gonna trim this edge here really quick because I don't like the way that it looks. But once it's on there, you're done. Now you got one, so you can see here, I don't like it. And then that's what the back looks like. So we covered up, but we got the front. It looks super cute. Cool. Once we do it to the other side, this is what it kind of looks like. And then there's the back, so you can see we just covered up what we did. That's the front. I'm still kind of nervous about these headbands because it seems a little, I haven't even added the bow yet. So now we're gonna attach the bow in the center. So that's at this point, that's it. Like, that's all you need to do in order to create your own. From here, I'm gonna do some fun stuff. We're gonna add some accessories, but that's the basic shell of what it looks like. All right, and that's it. And we're done. It's quite simple, it's quite easy. I'm all about doing really quick and easy projects. In total, this took me about 2 hours or so, and that was just because I was going through explaining it. I put a lot of bit of detail work into the bow itself. If you do something a little bit simple, it might not take you as long. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, or if I didn't explain anything well enough, let me know. I'm happy to help you out. As well as if you liked the video that you saw, don't forget to hit that like button, as well as don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you know when new videos get posted. If there's any other DIYs that you'd like to see, I'm all about trying new different DIY stuff. Feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to try out some new different DIYs, as well as maybe have some epic fails, because that happens a lot. Luckily, I only had the epic fail on when I was making the licorice. Everything else went fine. But yes, if there's any other DIYs you'd like to see, please let me know, and I'll definitely see what I can do about making them. In the meantime, I'm gonna go and clean up my mess, because if I don't clean it up now, it's not gonna get done. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!